I'm Renee Patrick. I am the Oregon Desert Trail Coordinator for ONDA, the Oregon Natural Desert Association. I'm also a thru hiker with a trail named Shira. The Oregon Desert Trail is a 750-mile route. I like to say route as opposed to trail because only about 30% of the miles are on actual trail tread. The other about 30 is cross-country travel, and the rest are dirt roads. So you're hiking on old dirt roads of various states, some 2 tracks, some road is a generous term because you can't find it anymore, and a few miles of pavement in and out of towns. But the route starts outside of Bend, Oregon in the Badlands Wilderness, and it does a big W through the southeastern corner of Oregon, hitting about 5 or 6 different mountain ranges, and it ends the last 200 miles in the Owyhee Canyonlands up near the Idaho border in the Owyhee Reservoir. Preparing for the Oregon Desert Trail is really an exercise in trusting your decision making. I think if you have solid skills, because you can't foresee the issues that might come up. Some water sources you want to be there, maybe dry. The terrain, the cross-country terrain, may be more rugged than you expect. Some areas, like in the Owyhee region, the Little West Owyhee, is probably some of the hardest terrain in that you're in a canyon, walking over these huge boulders, and then you have to swim. There's a bit of slot canyon swimming. So it's the preparation, I think the mental preparation for encountering things you're not comfortable with or you may not have done before is really important. Having solid navigation skills or having a good system for finding yourself. So I like to use a couple GPS apps. Look at your maps, but if you need to know where you are, you can turn on that GPS and okay, I'm reassured I'm going the right way and go the right way. The terrain is pretty rugged. The cross-country sections often go on jagged lava rock, so having a good pair of shoes or several pairs of shoes will save your feet. I traditionally use lightweight running shoes or trail runners to hike, but I needed a much sturdier shoe to navigate. I was happier with a sturdier shoe and having gaiters because there are sections where you're walking through dense sagebrush and in riparian areas, lots of willows, so you will save yourself some scratched up shins by taking long gaiters. And be prepared to see very few people and see a lot of wildlife. So being comfortable out there with the solitude, I think that's the important thing, is to anticipate what you're going to experience, and that is solitude and a beautiful desert. Well, the Oregon Desert Trail is definitely more of an advanced hiking experience if you're trying to hike the whole thing. I like to call it the Continental Divide Trail's little sister. I hiked the Continental Divide Trail last year and had some similar challenges: distances between water sources, cross-country travel, navigation. You have to be comfortable using your map and compass with a GPS, comfortable with those long water carries, comfortable with no signage on the ground. But for that hiker who has done a lot of backcountry exploring and navigating, it's a pretty interesting, amazing experience. So I think the experienced backpackers out there will love it. There's definitely a lot more solitude than on the well-traveled trails like the Pacific Crest Trail right on the other side of Bend and the Appalachian Trail. So there's a lot more solitude, a lot more freedom. I see the route as a suggestion of travel because we stick to public land, because we route the trail on public land. It is ours to explore, and so if people want to go climb the mountain or see what's in that canyon, as long as they respect the private land that's out there, I encourage people to make it your own. In fact, I think of the 7 hikers who have completed the Oregon Desert Trail so far, all of them have taken slightly different routes, and I think that's one of the strengths of the trail.
After a decent night of sleep, the alarm went off at 4 o'clock, and by 4:30 I was on my way. The next 80 miles or so were going to be very exposed without any natural water sources. Pretty soon, the temperature rose to 100 Fahrenheit, and that was only the beginning. In a brief moment, when I stopped paying attention to the trail, I was surprised by the first rattlesnake. We didn't talk much and left each other alone. My second surprise was finding a horseshoe, and that is said to bring luck. Sadly, that didn't last very long. 2 water sources that I was hoping would have water turned out to be dry. I was still many miles away from my next water cache when I ran out of water. The temperature was brutal, the wind was strong, the sun was merciless, the going was slow, and the morale was extremely low.
How is he going to make it to the next water cache? And will that water get him through the night? And then through the next 30 miles? Will he still be able to pee at all? Wait for the next episode to find answers to these quintessential questions.